Hi Aquarius, this is your general tarot reading for Aquarius, Sun, Moon and Ascendant or Rising sign for the month of October. Aquarius, let's do as we always do. You should know by now what that is. We'll shuffle the cards and wait on all the right ones to come out for you, my love. And in the meantime, let's talk about these energies that you may feel throughout the month. So, we're leaving September, still under the effect of the big full moon in Aries that happened for you in your third house. So you're going to still feel it a little bit into October. And that for you might have marked a period where some communication came to a head. Maybe communication with siblings, neighbours, or work acquaintances. Not people that you're terribly close with necessarily in work, just people that you kind of talk to on the phone or bump into every now and then. And there could have been something that really made you question a bunch of stuff in this communication. Maybe you heard news that challenged you in some way, made you a little bit upset, made you think that people are a little bit shady, or that people are a little bit double dealing, or that people will just about do anything to kind of get ahead. So there may have been a moment where you got a bit annoyed, angry, upset at just some news that might have come through your door. News that came through your door, more likely news that you saw on the internet or that came via your telephone. So yeah, it just made you pause for thought. It made you get to a point where maybe you have had enough of some he said, she said stuff, you know, of gossips, of people who are just all, I don't know, all about the networking, all about the, if I talk to this person, maybe I can get that. And if I talk to that person, maybe blah, blah, blah. And let's all have dinner, not to have fun, but because we need to get something out of it. And it just made you pull back a little bit. It made you think that there's a lot of people out there who really don't see the big picture, who don't maybe, I don't know, have a lot of sincerity about them. So what your soul wants to do is move in with the Sun and Mercury there at the start of the month into the 9th house, where firstly, the first thing you want to do is kind of neutralize a little bit of that feeling that you got after maybe hearing some maybe not so pleasant news, that you want to take some of the toxicity out of it and, you know, take some of the badness out of it by stepping back a little bit away from some of these gossipy people, or some of these, as I said, people who are very happy to tell you what he said and what they said and then what the other person said. And while you may have been welcome, actually, you might have welcomed the news, but nonetheless, sometimes there's an element here of also shooting the messenger. Sure, somebody might have brought news to your door, but there's a part of you now saying, why did they do that? Why did they tell me that when they knew it would hurt me? I know they thought they were doing me a favor, but I'm going to have to shoot the messenger here. So you're retreating, as I said, a little bit back, so that you can maybe see things, as I said, from a bigger picture, not to have things so small-minded. Now, there's also the element here too of maybe at some point towards the end of September, Aquarius, you felt that you didn't have all the details on things, that other people might have had all the info, or maybe the info that they had, you saw it wasn't enough. So this could be a month where you go back digging a little bit, digging into more information, maybe learning more things, maybe even deciding to, you know, expand your education on some subject a little bit, go back to school about something, so that you have this broader picture, so that you do remove yourself a little bit from the small talk, that you have bigger things now to add to the conversation. So that's what's on your mind, that the things that are on your mind now are bigger than the stuff that's normally spoken at the marketplace. So I like that energy as we move into the month. Now, around 6th of October, Venus in Scorpio is retrograding in your 10th house. Now, this is the house where you are really asserting yourself, where you're showing yourself as a responsible and respectable person, where you are in control of yourself and of your life and everything that goes with that, and often reflects your career too. So what you might find really from the start, more or less, of the month is that you're really going back and digging back a little bit into seeing, what's my status? Where do I get my sense of authority from? I want to stand up in this world. I want to be responsible, but yet every time I do that, it doesn't seem to be working. I try to take a step forward and I end up just falling back 10 paces. Why am I not able to assert myself so much in recent times? So you're going to be asking that question and then looking back to dig deep on why that's happening. And Scorpio is quite psychological. It goes deep at the root of a subject. And this is where this month is going to be a bit for you, Aquarius. You're going to be digging deep at the root questions and the root reasons why you're not able to stand up proud in some areas of your life, particularly, I'd say, in your career and just in general. Maybe you might find that people are around you and that they are not giving you the type of respect that you really probably feel you deserve. And so these are the big questions. Why do they not respect me as much as they used to? Why do I not feel like a figure of authority in my work anymore? Why do I feel that people keep questioning me and the things that I want to do in my life? So like I said, big questions have to be asked here, and it could get all very psychoanalytical. Yeah, you could be reading books, scrolling through the internet, looking for some real answers about how do I become more self-assertive? Or even the first Google question is, where did all my power go? Where did all my self-esteem go? Where did all my, I was once very sure about who I was. Where did all that go? So this is what's going to be on your mind this month, Aquarius, okay? Now, October 9th, there's a new moon in Libra in your 9th house. And for many of you, around October 9th, you could be doing two things. You could be, as we said, really opening up and expanding this thing of wanting to remove yourself a little bit from the smallness of this world and educate yourself into some higher knowledge or higher wisdom. 9th house is also quite spiritual, so around the 9th of October, you could see yourself becoming far more interested in spiritual matters, metaphysical things, kind of fringe science, things like that. And it'll just seem to give you some answers because you're the seeker now under this new moon. The 9th house is very often where we find ourselves being the seeker. We've got these questions, now we need these answers. So you might find this month is a month where you are, like I said, digging deep in yourself to ask, where has all my authority in my own life gone? Why is it falling apart a little bit? And then going back to look for unusual answers. Yeah, unusual answers. And bigger answers, that's the point. Some of you around the 9th of October could really seriously consider taking a vacation. And it's not just a vacation, by some pina coladas by the pool, which would be nice. I mean, we won't argue with that, but you want a vacation where you're in nature or where you're in another culture, experiencing other foods. Just, you want to, cleanse your mind by diving deep into another culture or into another place that looks nothing like what you're familiar with, so that you can clean your mind and, as I said, remove some of the toxicity that's been lingering around. And I mean, I know not all of you have huge money to throw away about traveling to the other side of the world and going onto an isolated island and being by yourself, but it could be just a question of maybe catching a train to a nearby natural place, a nearby, park, or just somewhere even where there's big animals. It could literally be a trip to the zoo. Really, I know that seems silly, Aquarius, to say such things, but it's where you want to see something absolutely different, and in some way remove yourself a little bit from people. That's why I said a trip to the zoo. If you live near some zoo or wildlife reserve, it could be a good thing for you to do. Or again, if you can't do that, just watch National Geographic back to back, because you want to see something more natural again in your life, and to understand how nature, how we're all part of nature, reconnecting with that whole concept. Okay, so I know it sounds quite deep. You're saying, when does this person get to where we're with the lottery numbers? Yeah, I know. Bear with me. There's other stuff. Now, we have Mercury on the 10th of October going into Scorpio. Sun, 23rd of October, going into Scorpio. So really, this month, everything, your energy and your mind are really shifting towards your career. And getting a better hold on that, getting a better grasp on it, and not feeling that it's so out of control, feeling that there's some healing that can happen in your workplace too, or with your career in some way. So this is big on your mind. All your focus and energy and full concentration is going on to what went wrong in my career. Why can I not move forward? What is happening here? I need to brush this up, shape this up, and get myself back in control. Back in control. Now, what I would say, 10, you get yourself back happy too. Yeah, maybe some of you have felt your career and issues around your career. You know, you could get back to a point where things were a little bit happier in your career. Okay. Things that are happening throughout the month, because Mercury, the one who tries to figure things out, the intelligence in ourselves, is now completely focused on areas of where we're responsible in our lives, where we can stand up and own our own space in our lives and our career. And at the start of the month, it might be a bit difficult, because I see that for some of you, there could be an issue within your family. Maybe you want to change your career, and there's a family dynamic which maybe is stopping you from making a big leap into a new career. Maybe it's somebody within your family telling you, oh, I wouldn't do that if I were you. Or they're making it a little bit difficult in some way, shape or form. And also maybe where you live, if you want to change your career or change something with your career, you're probably saying, well, if I want to do a new job, am I living too far away from, where I really want to be? So it's all practical things about where you're living, who you're living with, your family, etc. Trying to iron out a few things that they seem to be unhappy about, about some decision in your life. And you could feel that every time you try to assert some authority in your home or within your family, maybe that just all falls pear-shaped every time you try to do that. So that, again, your focus is on that. Now, it does get better. It's just that these are the obstacles that you'll be meeting. Your sense of power, feeling that your power is dissolving in some way, shape or form. But around the 12th of October, it seems to improve. Around the 12th, some of you could come up with some really great ideas in how to maybe totally transform your career in some way. Yeah, and again, on the 19th of October, the same thing. Maybe it was a money issue. Maybe you were working under some illusion in your career about, well, if I do X amount of hours, then it's like, a trial period. Doing extra work for less pay because you were under the illusion that something good would come out of it. But it seems that by the 19th, you figure out whether that's an illusion you can support anymore. Maybe you might get the reward from labouring under some promise that was given to you a long time ago. So it's quite interesting there. Again, the 22nd, Mercury is doing something nice there with Pluto. So it's this whole feeling, you're going through this thing, as we often speak about Aquarius, where you are dissolving a lot of things in your life because you have Pluto and Saturn in the 12th house. So this is a bit like trying to hold a bar of soap. The tighter you squeeze it, the more it slips out of your hand and flies further. So there is an element here with your career, maybe around the 22nd, around the 22nd, where you feel that you're getting more control over your career. And the control comes when you kind of not try so hard to be in command, not try so hard to be the boss, not try so hard to kind of wage war and say, this is my job, you know, these are the rules, this is it, I'm standing up for myself. Kind of relax a little bit more. And actually that's where you get more respect. The more you relax, the more you release, the less you try to throttle the life out of your career this month, then the more you actually gain. So surrender to win, if that makes sense. Yeah, surrender in some way to win. Now, around the full moon on the 24th of October, happening for you, it's a Taurus full moon happening in your 4th house. What we may see here again is some issue in the family or where you're living coming to a head around your career. Maybe the support that you felt you haven't been maybe receiving the support from family in some career decision that you're trying to make. And around the 24th, that seems to come to some head. If the issue was around money in particular, maybe you have to have that out once and for all. And I think it will be a good thing if you do, because once you show how passionate and enthusiastic you are about the work that you're trying to do or trying to bring forward, then it'll just get easier. You'll get more respect. You'll get some reward in your career around the 24th. Some maybe hidden thing coming back to you. Maybe a job that might come, or job offer that might come absolutely out of the blue. Or that it was there all along, but you couldn't see it before. And I think that's it. When it comes to your career or issues to do with you standing with authority in your life, asserting yourself, you might come towards the end of the month, around the 24th, to see that the answer was kind of there all along, but you just hadn't seen it. But you do get to see it, and it makes things far easier in your job. Now, I will say this, around the full moon on the 24th, some of you could really see some big, shocking turnaround with your career, some positive thing. Some of you might decide that it's to your benefit to work alone, or maybe to work unusual hours, do night shifts, or work where there's no set hours. You know, that kind of way, maybe working from home and enjoying that. Working where there are no hard laws, where there's no restrictions. And even, look, 12th house here, Saturn in the 12th house can talk about working with people who are disadvantaged, working with people who have health problems, maybe even mental health problems, working with people who have fallen completely outside the net, people who are the lost souls of this world. Maybe some of you could find great self-esteem and a great sense of, this is what I really need to be focusing on. When you look at those, let's say, unfortunate people who, through some reason or another, can't play the game of life right now, through illness or through some serious disadvantage. And you could become a real role model for them, a real help to them, you know, caring for the elderly. And I mean, you don't have to go in, and if it's not your job, if you don't know how to actually properly care for their needs, it could just mean going to talk to them in the evening if they're alone. Maybe going and starting a little book thing with them, reading books together or doing something together, even just watching TV together for a few hours, just so that they're not alone. It's about taking care of somebody who is a little bit lost, and that's where you get a real sense of self-empowerment towards the full moon. So that's a lovely energy. Some of you could be moving in, as I said, to the industry where you're working at night, working on your own, working in a hospital, working in, doing the night shift in a very spooky place even, like you're on your own at night in an old museum or an old theatre. Some of you could change your job around the full moon to give more devotion to theatre, music, the arts, glamour, makeup, design, anything like that, photography. Movie making, that's very 12th house. you could get very involved in stuff like that, and that seems to give you a real sense of pleasure. 12th house is also a very psychic house. So some of you could really find some great answers on how to assert yourself by meditating. And you're saying, meditating? I don't meditate. Well, I think that's why Saturn is in the 12th house, because maybe that's something you have neglected. Meditation, quietening your mind, tapping into your psychic things, tapping into the ether, getting answers not from logical places but from divine places, esoteric places, feeling the vibes out of something and trusting that. And trusting that wholly, not using the illusion of it, because, not getting involved in illusions, but making something very practical. So it's trusting the answers that you get during a meditation because they give you practical answers, if that makes sense. So we're waiting on 3 more cards here, Aquarius. So the focus, as I said, it's all about your career, and some of you, as I said, could make radical changes in that area, and it really could be to your benefit. And I just sense that it's when you see something that's absolutely obvious, but it was hidden to you before because you weren't looking in that place, then that seems to be a big breakthrough moment for you. A big, big, big breakthrough moment. So it's all lucky, it's all good. Other things that are happening there, I'm just saying, same again on the 28th. Yeah, your energy comes really back to you. I'm going to emphasize this again, Aquarius. I know it seems, and we've talked about this endlessly, that you are losing control of some areas of your life where you cannot get a grip on some things, and maybe you don't have the support that you want from family or people who are very close to you. But the more you go back and stop trying to force it, maybe you're trying to force some ideas down other people's throats, maybe. I'm not saying you are, I'm just saying maybe it's worth examining. And if you are, step back and be more relaxed about it. Be more, I don't know, the more relaxed about your career you are, then the more you see, the more you figure out, the more you meditate on the problems you're having within, how to get a control over your life again, the more you figure it out. It's a great time for you to actually do some relaxation, as I said, not just meditation, but swimming, taking a bath regularly, deciding to put a structure on just zoning out. This is where the answers will come. And there are all your cards, Aquarius. It's funny because as I'm tuning into your energy here, the energy is all in the 10th house. And like I said, it's all about focusing on your career, focusing about you standing up and being respected, being seen as an honourable, respectable figure that you are. And you're questioning why people are no longer treating you with the respect that you feel you deserve. And yet at the same time, I should be feeling that. But what I'm more feeling this month is what's going on in the background. It's the hidden stuff, the background stuff, that it's saying slow down. Stop being so aggressively focused on your career. Stop being so aggressively focused on getting yourself into a position of authority and power. Come back, relax, meditate, retreat, have quiet time, go into nature, clean your mind. And once you wipe it all down, there are the answers. It's like the answers are hidden behind a veil. And the more you try, you're not going to see it. So when you relax and just allow the veil to open, that's where the answers come. See? Sometimes it is weird like that, Aquarius. Now, let's move over to the cards. Finally. So, we open up Aquarius with the Judgment card, and I know why. You are spending, from the very beginning of the month, you're spending time recalling things with this Scorpio influence there, digging up old ground and seeing what you can salvage and what needs to be gone. You know, this is Gabriel blowing the horn, rising things up. You see, the things that you thought were dead and buried, the things you thought you dealt with, or the things you brushed aside and locked away in a little box or swept under the rug, this month they're all going to be brought up and dealt with and faced. Some ego issues, let's not forget that. 10th house doesn't always represent the ego, but when you've got Mars in Aquarius and you're trying to assert your identity and trying to push forward with a sense of power, you might have to look at that, because it might look to others, even though it's not what you're doing, it might look to other people like you're demanding to be heard, demanding to be the boss, rather than being a natural leader. And so these are things that are all going to be called up for review, where you say, I'm not that person. I'm not a bossy, pushy person. I'm not somebody who says, you must look up to me, you must respect me. That's not who I am. Why am I doing this? What have I become? Where did it go wrong? And this is what you're facing. This is what's being called up, because it's quite karmic right now for you to allow this process to happen. And I think this is why I was feeling that gentle undercurrent of relax this month, meditate, take bath, aromatherapy, massage, anything that you can afford to do to relax, even if it's just going on YouTube and listening to guided meditations, whatever they are, guided meditations. Just listen and give yourself real time to do that, because that is what's needed to silence some aggression, silence some anger, silence some rage. And again, as I said, the rage is spilling out into your life and it's affecting other people, and you're saying, oh my God, this is not what I'm trying to do. Why, when I try to assert myself, that people are just thinking I'm being angry or aggressive? It's not what I'm doing. So this is the big question, where you have to turn the mirror a little bit back on yourself this month and say, well, how am I doing this wrong? What's gone wrong here? You know, it's just a perspective thing. And the 9th house, as we enter the month, is asking you to change your perspective a little bit. It's not asking you, it's revealing to you that that's what needs to happen. A small shift in your perspective will mean everything to you, Aquarius, everything. And here's the 9. We said, 9, perspective. And the perspective here is on your soul purpose. You're again asking right from the beginning of the month, what is the point of all the things that I'm doing? What's the purpose? I keep pushing and I keep getting knocked back in my career, in trying to make money, with my friends, with my partners, with everything I'm trying to do. I try to look to the future and it's impossible to see. What is the purpose of this? And the purpose, as we begin this month, is to dig up, as we said at the start of the reading, the old toxicity, to neutralize some of that toxic stuff that has been coming up for you recently. And once you understand that, then you can reconnect again with your sense of purpose, with your soul. I think recently there has been a bit of a disconnect with your purpose, with what the hell am I supposed to do now? Kind of happening a lot for you recently. And I think you understand as we go through the month, and if you do the things that we're discussing, that you do get a greater picture, the bigger picture of what it is you're supposed to do. And actually what you might also see, Aquarius, is that things aren't as bad as you probably thought they were. Once you root everything out, empty the wardrobes, empty the closets, there could be a bit of that this month too, where you go in and look at your apartment or your house and say, I have to pull everything out of that wardrobe, pull everything out, because you're psychologically cleaning. And sometimes that can manifest on the outside too, getting your car valeted or going, vacuuming out your car, cleaning it. You want to purge, clean. Why? Because you want to be clean. You want to be able to see things from a cleaner perspective. And you'll get there. You will do it. And you will regain that sense of independence and authority in your life again. You certainly will. Yeah. Because there is a thing here where sometimes with you, Aquarius, you can do things that are very unusual for your choice of career or with your hobbies or pastimes. And you know that you're good at what you do, but it seems that the big questions are also, how do I push it further? I know what I do has value, but yet other people aren't quite seeing it yet. But through this month, you'll get the answers and you will be able to share what you're doing, possibly in a less forceful and aggressive manner, which allows other people to stop, listen and understand what you're doing in your life, where you want to go, how you see your relationships, partnerships, everything in your life. So that's where we're going here. Now look at this. Once you do what we've just spoken about, Aquarius, you can really see the sun shine on 10. See number 10? The 10th house. Your responsibility, your ability to hold your head up high and feel confident and assertive again. To begin trusting again that you have some control over your life again. The sun is shining on it. Yeah, and the sun actually is shining on it around the 23rd of October, where you feel that you've come through the worst of some real tricky emotional period in your life. Maybe you had to say goodbye to a few people. Maybe there was distance and separation between you and other people. Maybe there was a great chasm or a great divide emotionally between you and others. Well, healing comes and it's bringing you all back together again. So that's a really nice thing. If you have been feeling, now I know you like to be independent, Aquarius, and I know that you do always like to keep a bit of yourself to yourself and have a small bit of distance. But when you are with the people that you absolutely adore, your family, your partner, your lovers, your children, for those with children, that, okay, you like a bit of a separation, but you don't want that big chasm, that big valley to form between the two of you. And I think that made you panic a little bit when you saw that there were greater distances happening between you and the people you loved than you're comfortable with. But as I said, know that the sun is shining on healing that. And look, what makes a rainbow? Now, rainbows are what we all seek. Rainbows bring colour into our life. Rainbows mark the end of the rain. You know, it's when the sun comes out again, and through the tears, through the sadness, through the emotions, when the sun shines its rays, it casts a rainbow. Now, didn't we say a few moments ago, Aquarius, that there is something right in front of your nose that you're not seeing? And it's hidden to you because you've been maybe under a little bit of an emotional cloud. But when you start feeling better and when you allow more positivity come into your life, when you start seeing things from a happier perspective, then when the sun shines and all the things, the treasures that were hidden are suddenly revealed. They were there all along. So there is an aspect here of take care of your health, but more importantly, take care of your emotional health. And don't let yourself be sucked in to negative thinking. Now, it might not have been started by you. It might have been started by maybe people around you who triggered something by their communication at the end of September, where you heard some bad news and now you got into this zone where everything is shit and everything is bad and everything is collapsing. Inject the sunshine back in. Think positive, even if you have to fake it at first. You know the phrase, fake it till you make it. Even pretend to be happy and it will catch on. I know, I don't want to sound trivial or trite. I know some of you are dealing with some strong emotions, and the last thing anybody wants to hear when they're dealing with strong negative or sad emotions is somebody saying, think happy thoughts. It just smacks of bullshit. I know, because it's not as easy to do that, but maybe bringing the sunshine in involves taking better care of yourself through the things we spoke about: relaxation, meditation, going into nature, even taking baths, even just watching National Geographic online, opening your perspective a little bit so that the light in you can shine out again. So there is an aspect here. I have to say that too, because I know for some of you, I'm just getting the feeling that some of the emotions you're dealing with are overwhelming. But there is always light inside there. I promise you, there is always, always light. And maybe that's why you're broadening your mind, as I said, broadening yourself out, relaxing your muscles, relaxing your body, so that you can open yourself out again and let some of that light back into your life. Because when you do, you see that there are still wonderful positive things for you. And those wonderful positive things could act as a support for you until you feel better in some way, okay? Now here we have two pages, the Page of Swords and the Page of Cups. After coming through this, we leave the 10 and we enter here the page. So I'm happy to say that for those of you who were feeling some heavier emotions that were a little bit overwhelming, there is the energy here of where you begin to master that, where you begin to accept the idea that there is always light in you that can meet light outside. And you're reconnecting with that idea. And to know that he's only a beginner, the page is a beginner. He's beginning to trust that flow of emotion. He's beginning to reconnect with a sense of love, joy, happiness, feeling connected all over again with the nicer things in life. Yeah, you know, I didn't expect this reading to go this way. Talking about 10th house is pretty much all about career, but yet I feel that the theme really, a lot of the things that are happening that are negative for you in your career seem to be coming. I don't know which came first. Either I think that it's probably gotten you down to a point where you feel quite emotional about it. But know that that's turning around this month. I think that's why we're talking about it. You had allowed so many things get you down and make you lose confidence in yourself, that you'd no control over your life. And maybe this is why we're talking about this, that you're feeling the reconnection to that sense of control again. And also you're feeling connected to your mind energy, to having great ideas, great thoughts coming to your mind with Mercury in the 10th house. You're trusting your intelligence more to get you out of some difficult situations within your career. And it's all success. You see, this is the interesting thing. You've the Sun there, you've the 10 of Cups. This is success. And yet the undercurrent is, okay, I accept that I'll have some success in my career. I accept that. That's wonderful. Thanks for letting me know. But what about how I feel about myself? Do I have success with that too? You do. You do. You do. Absolutely, you do. And with these two cards, there's the essence of getting back in the game again, feeling like a beginner again, maybe beginning a new job, beginning communicating with new people, begin communicating in a new way, begin expanding your communication, networking again, opening up to new people, opening up to the idea that more people are out there than that your kind of person is out there, and opening up your mind to welcoming that in. Yeah. Ready for love to come back in your life. Ready to hand the cup of love too. We know with Mars and Aquarius there that things have been a bit challenging. And when he appears, maybe he is offering an apology to somebody that he has been a bit cutting with. Maybe as you've been feeling these emotions, Aquarius, you've been a bit cutting with your words. Maybe somebody has been very cutting towards you. Saying nasty things to you, and maybe there's an opportunity for you here to build the bridge of healing with the things that were said, with the things that were done without a sense of love, or done through a sense of frustration, hurting people that you love maybe because of this frustration, or feeling that they've hurt you. So it can work two ways. But there's the cup of reconciliation being handed there, okay? Now, the King of Pentacles, he is sitting beside you holding the higher moral ground. You're standing up for yourself again as we come through the month. You're feeling more empowered certainly more empowered when it comes to your money and having a certain level of control, because he is the boss. It's almost the feeling of, as we go through the month, you're back in control, but in a more solid and purposeful way. Yeah, and you're defending that. You're saying, I'm never going to lose this sense of control again. I'm never going to feel that I've no control over my finances and money again. I'm going to battle off anybody that challenges me and my position of power and control again. Now we're moving towards this. We're moving towards maybe some sleepless nights concerning a family issue or a financial issue, which I do believe will come to an end around the full moon on the 24th of October. I really think that if you really accept some big changes within your family life and run with them, because they seem to be very positive. They seem to be trying to open up something wonderful in you. Are your family or people who love you trying to tell you not to give so much time and effort to work, or trying to tell you not to be so responsible with that when there are other responsibilities that you should be taking care of? I don't know, but there's a level of stress here that definitely seems to be fixed around from the 24th of October onwards. And here we end the month with Venus in Scorpio card here. That's Venus in Scorpio beside the Inspirer. You are absolutely, as we close the month, Aquarius, feeling more able and more capable of seeing the treasures that you already have in your life. As I said to you, hidden treasures. There's you coming out of the shadow, suddenly seeing something that was already up there in the sky. See, we've two cards here saying the answer was already there. There is something right in front of your nose. That's the answer to so many of your solutions, Aquarius. And you will find that by the end of the month. And when you do that, look, you'll turn your back on the hardships that you've been experiencing, and you'll become re-inspired again to get out there, be creative again, and to look to new horizons. Look to new horizons. Be both inspired and be the one who inspires. Yeah, this is also an Aries card. Aries could be a catalyst for changing your mind here somehow, to re-inspire you or reignite you in some way. But that's the energy, Aquarius. I would say around October 17th and 18th, just watch your emotions there. Things could get very explosive around that time. But in general, with your cards, I think that there is something hidden that is going to be revealed to you this month that seems to be the answer to so many of your prayers. So it's a long reading, Aquarius, again. I'm going to leave it at that, Aquarius, and I do wish you a wonderful month, and keep shining, keep allowing that sun to shine in you, okay? As always, I will say, if this is the first time seeing my videos, then please subscribe. Join me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also Snapchat now. And come back next month to see what else is in store. And as always, Aquarius, happy Halloween. For those who are celebrating, happy Halloween. For those who celebrate the Celtic festival of Samhain, I'll say happy Samhain festival. And as always, I will leave you with all my love, Aquarius, and a big kiss. Mwah. Love you.